Village Talk Show. Come one, come all to learn and grow. Welcome to the Village Talk Show. We discuss what people need to know, empowering them to learn and grow. We discuss what people need to know, empowering them to learn and grow. Give praises to Jehovah, from whom all blessings, blessing and knowledge will flow. Blessing and knowledge will flow. The Village Talk Show, dedicating to empowering the community to live a healthy, safe, and financially capable life, helping each one of us in realizing our dream at any age, any point, starting from today, day. Success. Come one, come all to learn and grow. Welcome to the Village Talk Show. Come one, come all to learn and grow. Welcome to the Village Talk Show. We discuss what people need to know, empowering them to learn and grow. We discuss what people need to know, empowering them to learn and grow. Success is not spoken, it is done. Success is done. Come on now. The Village Talk Show. Talk Show. The Village Talk Show. Come one, come all to learn and grow. Welcome to the Village Talk Show. Come one, come all to learn and grow. Welcome to the Village Talk Show. We discuss what people need to know, empowering them to learn and grow. We discuss what people need to know, empowering them to learn and grow. Give praises to Jehovah, from whom all blessings, blessing and knowledge will flow. Blessing and knowledge will flow. The Village Talk Show, dedicating to empowering the community to live a healthy, safe, and financially capable life, helping each one of us in realizing our dream at any age, any point, starting from today, day. Success. Come one, come all to learn and grow. Welcome to the Village Talk Show. Come one, come all to learn and grow. Welcome to the Village Talk Show. We discuss what people need to know, empowering them to learn and grow. We discuss what people need to know, empowering them to learn and grow. Success is not spoken, it is done. Success is done. Come on now. The Village Talk Show. Talk Show. The Village Talk Show.
Family, welcome. You muted me, John.
Mute?
You muted me.
Okay.
You gotta click the one with you on the camera.
Yeah, all right. Welcome one and all to the Village Talk Show.
Andre, as you can see, we are not blessed with the presence of Roger Daly this evening. So hopefully we'll have a nice, smooth evening where we can listen to some of the villagers. But don't worry, Roger's going to pop in at some point in time. Also, Dr. Brian will also be in. I want to say good evening to Andre. Andre, how you doing? And also Sophia, our producer. Andre, what's going on, Andre?
Another week. Gotta be blessed, thankful. So that's pretty much how it is. I'm doing great, man. Always great. What about you?
I'm doing blessed, but I want to get into
Sir John's echoing. Are you echoing?
Yeah, I am echoing.
I don't even know why.
You echoing too?
Turn the thing.
Which thing? The volume?
Yeah.
Are we echoing now?
Oh,
still echoing.
Oh, don't sound like you're echoing.
1 2 1 2.
All right. Is that Simone? Are we still echoing?
Oh, no, Simone.
Yeah, she gonna comment. See, that's why it's echoing. You heard what John said about Rogic?
Yeah. It figures,
oh gosh.
It figures, Simone. But you know what? One thing I want to talk about that's really just
What happened?
Our subways, man.
I was just talking to my colleague, and he takes the train all the time. We're just like, the fact that all this just random acts of just violence, or just people not caring. It's just like you could just be sitting down, mind your own business, and get pushed,
Yeah, I think it comes to the point now is there's no sense of civility anymore. Everybody talks about the crime, but technically, as we talked about last week, crime in the transit system has been down and elevated maybe this month a little bit, but overall, it has been down. But what's going on is the incidents are just happening randomly, and you do have police in the subway systems, but these are incidents that's just happening in random areas, and the cops are doing their best. But I tell everybody, if you look to see those individuals who are committing these crimes, they are apprehended within 24 to 48 hours. It's a big difference than under the prior administration. If you look at it, people who are committing crimes, they are apprehended very quickly. But the whole point is we want to prevent these crimes from happening. Last week we talked about the young man on the train getting shot, but a lot has to do with what's going on at home, what's going on in the community, what's going on in the schools. So it's something that in society that we have to say we have to be more civil towards one another.
I agree. So what we gotta do? How do we really prevent these random acts from happening in the subway?
I think more of sometimes we need to. We're on such an edge when we go to the subway. When anybody say good morning to us, we're ready to jump at them because we're thinking that they may have something other than something positive to do at that point in time. Some sinister scheme going on or something like that. That's what we are dealing with now. I think it's more important that we continue to be alert, but at the same time, some sort of civility towards one another, man. Instead of getting upset, somebody bump into you, you go to, what the hell are you bumping into me? When you bump, you knock down my phone. It's very simple to say, I'm sorry. They pick up your phone for you. And as the person continues, he says, hey, I'm not here for no confrontation. Sometimes you got to de-escalate these situations, but we are definitely getting an echo.
Yeah, I'm hearing the echo. So I'm trying to really situate it in the meantime.
Between time.
But to your point still though, civility, or just being what one might call human, or just being compassionate, I think those things are lost, or rather it's not instilled in people as much nowadays, perhaps. I don't know. I don't see a lot of practice of it, like even being an educator in a classroom. I think especially for the younger students. Maybe they have a lot of things bothering them, on their mind. So
Right.
they're coming to school, and it's like, as teachers, we have to, build that relationship, figure out what's, how they're doing, mental health stuff, wellness, and really connect to that aspect before we try to teach them about how to write, how to read. As if you're not feeling like you're safe, or feel like you're hungry or whatever it may be, you don't care about work. You don't have no time for that. And I think those things impacts how you react.
I
And
think, Andre, I think what you said something very important. And what you said was that, we talk about making sure we have a balanced meal for the children as soon as they come in. So they don't have to think about that hunger that they're experiencing. But also safety is very important because if they are feeling unsafe in school and when they leave school, that distracts from the attention that they have to pay in the classrooms. So how can we, listeners of the villages, how can we create an environment that is conducive to one of safety, conducive that allow our children and our people to get educated when they're in the classroom, when they're in school, and when you're at work, there's apprehension of when you got to get up in the morning, got to go ride the subway, and I got to go to work. Like I don't know how am I going to receive. I don't know what's going on. That's another stress added to your day, and it changes your whole disposition when you're riding on the subway and when you go to work.
for real, man. You
But
know,
a lot has to do with I always you have to definitely walk by faith. It's very important, and when you can avoid those situations, but sometimes you can't.
for real.
Sometimes you can't, but sometimes you have to learn how to just walk away, de-escalate the situation, if possible. So every day is different. You cannot you cannot prepare for this, but the only thing you can do, you can just be, villagers, just be alert
Or
in
be
your
aware.
surroundings, be aware of what's going on. So your safety is paramount because when you leave your home in the morning, you want to make sure you come back home. So everybody talks about the elevation of crime, and I think sometimes the media they really metastasize some issues that are happening in the community to just stroke that fear of people because everybody knows midterms election. Hey, greeting, Empress, greeting.
And you mentioned stoking the fear. Simone said something about sometimes in de-escalating a situation, the other person gets more upset because some people lives for confrontations.
Some
Right?
people do live for confrontation, Simone, but at the same time, sometimes people recognize someone who is not going to engage them. I'm not going to, it takes two to tangle. I'm not going to tangle with you. I'm going to walk away. I'm going to be apologetic. And I always believe, and I can be apologetic because I can come back another day. And that's the way I look at it. So if there's a situation where we can walk away, if we can just apologize and say, at some point in time, they will just back off. At some point in time, but some people are not, because some people are just so sinister in what they think and what they want to do. And Simone, question. Yesterday, I witnessed an eighth grader in school got upset and threatened his coach with gun violence because the coach said something to me he didn't like. That's, to me, that is behavior that
Managemental.
is indicative of what's going on in that young person's life, the environment he is around, that he has to resort to violence and threaten an adult with some sort of violence. And that's what we have to look at. What's going on at home? Why does he have to revert to violence when dealing with some sort of criticism or something that the coach said? So
And and I'll add to that too. What's going on at home is an important thing to consider. I also, and I'm always saying that too, is that the media and what it shows and present is also an impact, right? We have a lot of young people who don't have that monitoring of their devices, right? You'll have families might just give the kid the device itself, and the kid will just be exploring and come across something. It looks cool, and they start really what do you call it, jump on that side, and then they might have friends who are seeing this thing and think it's cool, so now they're all together with this. And perhaps a child who might not have that, what would you call, like the expectations or rules to be followed at home. So there can be that entitlement that develop, that if the coach might say, hey, you don't do that, don't do anything like that. There might be rules on the team that the kid might not want to follow, and of course they're
Oh,
pissed off.
Simone, I agree with you. I agree with you to a certain extent. You said, "Who says it's home?" We
Exactly.
are quick to judge home, but it's not always home. I
Birds of a
agree.
feather come together.
It's not home. It's an environment.
Mhm.
You know what triggered? What has triggered this young person's behavior, and where did it come from? We have to dig deeper into to see where it's at, and sometimes we need to confront it head on, so they can understand that you do not deal with criticism by threatening violence. Criticism that can be corrective, that can assist you to being a better person or being a better young person, to advance you in society. So it has a lot to do with, a conversation. And this is what we don't do as an adults. We don't spend a lot of time having a conversation with our children. We always are ready to bark out orders or to lay down laws or edicts instead of sometimes you want to hear from them. And that's one thing I like. Let's hear from them. Let's pay attention to what they're saying. It might be that's maybe that's all they want. They want somebody to just pay attention to me, just listen to me, listen to my position. My daughters always say that. Why don't you listen to what I have to say? Sophia, hello. So that's what I'm saying, Andre. And as an educator, I know that this is something that you experience.
Yeah, like I even have a young lady in my class, and when it comes to students asking to maybe go to the bathroom, or just going to talk to another staff, I'm fine with those things, but also I'm considering what the student is doing in terms of productivity in my class too. Sort of like a reciprocal exchange, quid pro quo. And I often said to the students, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, you can go, but make sure you produce some sort of work. And I have this young lady, for the past 2 days, first day she walked out of my room really, and I said, well, you're gonna hear my lecture, and when you come back to try to get in, and they don't like to hear that. And was today? No, yesterday. She wants to go to the bathroom. She's not a student who do what she gotta do in class. So I said, well, there's the door, but I'm not sending you anywhere. You need to produce something first before you go anywhere. She goes to the door and she thinks, and she's just contemplating really. And she goes back and sit down and do what she gotta do. And I think it comes down to really choice, giving the student a choice really, and allowing them to really think about the consequences. And it is just a start really. But there's so much more to it.
Something, always, there's a philosophy that I always believe in, and a saying I always have. I always give you enough rope to hang yourself. And the reason I did it, you put yourself in a position, even young people, just putting yourself in a position where you make the decision you are going to be bound by your choices. So, that's pretty much, my thought process on that. Oh, question, not a question, a comment. Some of the students, when they get in trouble and you tell them you have to call home, you don't want to see crying. Some only tough on the streets. That's true. That was me. Shoot, when I was tough. I was tough on the street. Yeah, I was tough on the streets. But man, I remember my professor, my teacher in fourth grade, Mr. Levine said, he said, John, I'm going to have to send a note home, and I'm going to call to speak to your parents. I said, man, I begged, I pleaded him not to call my father, because I know if my father was called and he had to come up to the school, my father would embarrass me in front of the whole classroom. My father would beat me he would beat me in front of the class. And I did not want to experience that. What's up, Ange? About time you respond, say something. We were looking for you last week. We didn't see you last week. So your comment, Ange, says that's true because as soon as they hear you're about to call home, it's a wrap because your parents do not play. You know, and you know, and you're definitely right. My parents did not play. But now you have to worry about if you chastise your child, you have to worry about, you know, being called, social service being called, and the next thing your child is in that system. So, you know, my father, something my dad always say, may rest in peace. He always says, in America, they have too much freedom. My father was, no wonder John gives so much trouble now. You see, Simone, I'm trying to be nice, but you're always pulling me back in. My father always said America had too much freedom because you give them so much freedom, they just run amok. And I always tell them, you know, either you abide by the rules of your parents' household or whatever it is. But if you want to buy the rules, by the rules of society, they give you all this freedom. But if you get in trouble, then society wants to be able to control every aspect of your life, and that's called prison. So you have to understand, you know, understand the ramifications and the choices that you make can determine where you go in life. And we've been joined by Dr. Brian. I like that hat, Dr. Brian. Did you make it yourself?
Absolutely not.
Oh, I thought so. Hold on. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, we've been joined by Mr. Daly. Mr. Daly, why don't you come on in? He's kicking me out the big chair, but it's all right. Angie, you are right. They are absolutely calling ACS now. They do not play around about child abuse. That's true. But back in the day, you know, it wasn't called child abuse. It was called killing you with beatings. That's what it was called.
Yeah. What happened? So, yeah, thank you, John, for covering for both Dr. Bryant and myself. You know, today was had been a long little day.
That's an oxymoron, a long little day.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, because my son has a baseball game. His bag was in my car. I just had to make sure that he gets that because, you know, I tell you a joke that one day, so he's the first baseman for the team. And you can hear me? Yeah. Oh,
I can hear you. You're good.
maybe try now.
Hello? Can you hear me?
No, John, you need to be closer to the mic.
No, it's not. It's not. It's not.
Mike?
It's not. Yeah, French kiss the mic actually.
French kiss.
No, it's on. Can you hear?
No, I can't hear. I can't.
Let me see.
Are they talking?
Can you hear John? Dr. Brian, can you hear? Who's on first? Right? Who's on first?
Hello?
What? He's on second. Can you hear
No,
John though?
his mic needs to go on.
Okay, so let's try. Yeah, try it again.
Hello?
Nope, still
The
off.
other one. The other one. Try it again now.
Hello?
No.
We're not. Well, it's the mic that he says he's not hearing. But so my son, right, today's his baseball game, and so he's played first base, right? He's a big boy. He's lost some weight, but he hasn't lost the weight, but he's growing into the weight, if that makes more sense, right?
That's what I used to call myself. I was doing it.
Yeah, that's not what you should have used. But anyway, so he's so I said to him, I said, Grayson, how do you feel that every time you go to practice, there are 4 people at first base, right? There are 4 people at first base, and you know, it's like you're competing for this base. He's like, I don't care. I start, right? He's like, I start, and that's it, right? So he don't care who's trying out, and basically, you know, the adult version of that, I don't give a rat's patoot who is who's trying out at first base because I am the first baseman. So he's playing a really good Gold Glove first base. I left the game. I don't know the score. I'm going to keep track of it while you're here. A couple of things.
I hope his team is not
I
like
can
the
hear you now.
No, they're not. They're not like the Mets at all. I could tell you that right now. Although he and his mother are both Mets fan. I don't know why, but I don't know why anybody's a Mets fan, but I understand people are Mets fan. But so a couple of things while we're talking on the subject of sports.
We weren't talking about subjects before. We talked about education.
No, I got that. But I'm just saying, I just brought up the conversation. And we're going to go back to because a couple of people brought something to my attention in conversation. I wish also people make sure that you text us and call in 718-841-9980 with your comments. On whatever is happening. That sometimes you text me to tell me what's going on, but do call us in to bring that up. So
Roger,
wait.
Last week Monet had some. You talked about the Social Security issue.
Oh,
She has some information for you.
yeah, it's our guest next week. I didn't tell you yet. Surprise.
No surprise. You always do that.
Right. I go off topic. We'll be talking about that. Social Security.
Right.
So anyway, the Yankees made it to the second round of the playoffs.
And they lost game one.
I don't know if they're playing tonight.
They're playing tonight. Yes, they are.
They are?
Playing right now.
They're playing right now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so maybe we could keep track of that as well. That's one. And two, the Giants and the Jets, and I think Buffalo as well. All three New York area teams are doing extremely well. So the Giants are 5-1, the Jets are 4-2, and I think Buffalo is 4-2 or 5-1 as well. One out of those two numbers. So kudos to all of New York. The basketball season is about to start.
And both teams lost yesterday.
Right, unfortunately, but the basketball season is about to start, and the hockey. I know the Rangers won their first game. I've been so busy, man. I've not been able to keep track. So let's go back. So questions. The conversation that you're having on ACS, on education.
I think the whole conversation just stemmed from we talked about the violence on the on
schools.
No.
Oh.
Schools, subways. It's just the whole issue. I think crime is up, but I think it has been such a concentration with the media just concentrating on just creating a bit of hysteria in which that can happen. But at the same time, people do have their apprehensions about the subway systems and riding it. And, safety is a very important issue. And Andre made a good point. He says, if kids got to worry about not only being able to have food to eat, but also about their safety, how are they going to spend the time
In the classroom?
in the classroom and learning?
Yeah, because one of my major issues when I was in education, one of my major issue is every person has a problem. So every person has a problem.
Right.
When I say a problem, I'm not talking about mental issues, or we have that too, but every person has a problem. The problem is the two components. Three. One, I can't look at your problem and, for lack of better words, small fry it, right? Because to you, for it to be a problem, it's a great problem. I think a couple of weeks ago, we talk about moving a seat, right? Somebody comes into the classroom and they feel that that's their seat. That person can come from a 5-family unit, a 5-person household in a 1-bedroom apartment, where they have to share everything.
Mm-hmm.
And for the first time, they can actually come into a room and say, this is my seat. And when you walk back and you change that seat, you're wondering, why is this student fighting, behaving so recklessly about this seat? And you begin to realize they don't own anything.
Right.
So that's one of their problems. For the other person, my son or your daughter or Andre's sister or who are Joanne's, you know, they might have their own desk,
Mm-hmm.
right? So they don't have to worry about that problem. That's not my problem. My problem is I want to be able to hang out with my friends. And my parents are like, you're not going anywhere. Whereas that kid, he's a latchkey kid, so he hangs out with his friend all he wants. As a matter of fact, he hangs out with friends too much.
Mm-hmm.
So he can't get his homework done. So we have to first identify
The issues.
not just the issue, but the understanding of the issue. Because identifying it one thing, but to understand it another is another. The second component of these issue is, when are you going to allow a parent to be a parent and parenting their children, right? And so that reminds me of the conversation I was having coming in. I was speaking to somebody, I'm not going to call any name on air, right? But I was speaking to somebody about bail reform. And the conversation was like this, and I want you to chime in, both from your former position and your current, right? So from both. And that is the bail reform. And I know that we have had some semblance of this conversation earlier. The bail reform has allowed for people to be back on the street. And they go from one extreme to the other. So before, there was a significant amount of injustices that were happening with criminals, especially Black and brown criminals. Let me not use the word criminals, individuals, right? And there was a significant amount of injustice that were happening. They get larger bail sentences, larger sentencing overall, and the penalties were greater.
Right.
However, now you have the whole left side coming and say, hey, you need bail reform, you need this, you need that. And then, to my chagrin, Dr. Bryant, the person, I don't know how true it is because I didn't get the report yet, and Andre, you can please look it up. All right, to follow up, that it might be possible that the person who shot up the train station is out. And he shot up the train station with 8 people in it, and he was out. Why is he out?
I'm not surprised. And that was something that we had asked when the public
advocate,
he was on. That was the thing. You put all these laws in place, but there's no accountability attached to it. Yeah, I could create a law right here. I could create this bail reform, but who is actually proctoring and monitoring that? No one. So there's always a cause and an effect. Yes, we want people to have rights. Yes, we want people to do right. We want people to be equal and free. But in that, they take it to another level and realize that they could get away with certain things, that now it's no longer a right to other people to be safe.
Right. And that was part of her argument, right? When are you going to think about the victims?
You know, but hold on, but
That's what I said.
You can't blame everything on bail reform. You can't.
But you can blame a lot of it.
No, you can't even blame a lot of it. This is bail reform has some aspect to it, but it's again going back to what's going on in the subways. You do 99.9% correct. 1% that you don't that's not done correctly, it usurps the other 99.9%.
That's how people are.
Everybody talks about those people who come out on bail and may get rearrested, commit. What about those people who shouldn't be there in the first place, who will come out, who have been productive, doing what they have to do, showing up when they have to show up? But we always take those extreme. But I believe, this is what I believe. There needs to be, discretions need to be with the judges to make that determination to, I didn't say dedicated, all that. Roger gonna do all that stuff, but we dedicated to making sure we provide you the information that is necessary so you can be informative about what's going on in your community. But getting back to
audience, and when I interrupt him, he gets mad, right? All right, I just want to point that out, right? See, you have to be a smarty pants, and just gonna say, you could do it later. That's it, right? He doesn't have to let us know what we're talking about in studio. Go ahead,
He's
man.
interrupting.
I am interrupting because
Again. He's
you made a,
interrupting.
you made a
But
smart
getting
pants
to
comment.
the point, you know, bail reform is one aspect. There's people who are going to repeat crime again and again and again. Those are the people who we need to get off the street and just look at their records. But you need to allow the judges to have a bit more discretion in making the determination as to when an individual is a candidate for bail or no bail.
Yeah,
I
that's
agree with that. I agree with that. What you just said, I agree with. Someone who actually committed the same crime 8 to 10 times and is released because of bail reform, that's not right. And then for a judge to say, "Hey, you know what? My hands are tied," that's unacceptable.
but
That's
it's
really
unacceptable for whom? And the thing that the young lady and I we were talking about, right? The thing that we were talking about was one victim is one victim too much,
Correct.
right? And that's the problem. So if I lose a person or I am gone, my family is going to feel that, and they don't give one rat's patoot about
That's
bail
true.
reform.
True.
They care that they have lost a victim. You know, I want to talk about something. I just remembered.
The pink.
No, first of all, happy birthday to my cousin Marville. Happy birthday! Saturday is your birthday, the 22nd. That's Saturday, right? Today's 20th, right? Is that correct?
Mhm.
So I want to make sure I tell him happy birthday, so I don't forget. Happy birthday to my cousin Clive. Happy belated birthday on that. Right? I don't know who am I gonna miss? Help me out.
Just say happy birthday to the whole crew.
No. I want to be very specific to family in case. I know my Deirdre, who's also watches us. Her birthday's in a couple of next week, so I'll do that. So, what was I going to talk about?
I don't
I don't know
know.
what the hell you talking about because you all over
First
the damn place.
of all, the pink.
Oh,
Yeah,
he's
no, and I'm
jumping. That's
forgetful,
what
right? I have chemo brain, right? I have chemo brain. So first of all, kudos to Dr. Bryant for wearing the pink. We recognize in 2 special event recognitions this month. One of them is domestic violence, which is purple, and a lot of us suffering from. I know exactly what it was that I was going to say because it relates to the domestic violence. To recognize that those people are suffering from domestic violence, please note that out there you're not alone in your fight to stop domestic violence, or you're not alone in the malfeasance of domestic violence. So, sometimes it takes one to step up and acknowledge and move forward so that the next person doesn't have that problem. And second, I want to recognize Dr. Bryant for her pink in recognize it. And I want to say both pink and lavender because the top of the hat might be a little lavender, even though it might be dark pink. Purple is the color of domestic violence.
And the hair too. Check out the hair.
I think the hair is red.
Yeah.
So recognizing those people who suffer from breast cancer. It's a major issue in the United States. I believe it's close to being the number 1 killer or close to that. But we do know that I believe that it's number 1 in all cancer, right? Who gets cancer is breast cancer, both men and women. I don't know if the number is the same for both men and women, but we do know that it affects both men and women. And so kudos to that for recognizing it. And I also want to pay respects to my sister Terry Ann Nicole Llewellyn Carneef, who last Friday was the 10-year commemoration of her death from breast cancer. She died October 14th, 2012. And I just want to make sure that, let her know, although she can't answer me in physical words, maybe through actions, that she's always in our family thoughts, and may her soul continues to rest in peace. And, we look forward to that moment when we can reunite together in a happy place. So just making sure that she knows and the family knows that we do recognize her. So that's that. And everybody out there who have lost, and I want to while I'm on this,
survivors, plenty of survivors too.
yeah.
So
So I was gonna
that
say that
early.
that
Mhm.
early detection, your mammogram, your this, your that, ladies and gentlemen alike. And second of
Mhm.
all, if you gotta cut it off, cut it off.
Mhm.
Right? Just cut it off.
Mhm.
You know, you can't live your
Need
life
to live.
right hoping that things will change. If this is a suggestion, do what you need to do,
Mhm.
right? So that because you only have
One life.
one life. I've never met, I don't care what anybody tell me. I don't believe in ghosts. I don't care what you can tell me whatever you want, right? But I've never met anyone who has come back and told me that death is like this. And this is what happened in death. I've never met that person, right? So you could tell me whatever you want, that this said that and that. You could tell anything you want. I've never seen it. I've never heard, I've heard all these people tell a whole bunch of crappy story about the death has spoken to me and somebody from the afterlife will come. I don't believe none of that crap, right? You want to give your money to those people, you'd go ahead and do that. So therefore you have one life to live, take care of it.
Roderick, we agree that you do have one life to live,
Mhm.
and you have to live it to its optimal.
Yep.
And
And
in
Roderick's a great example of that by traveling every week.
that- Going on, baby. No.
You,
Vacation.
I'm gonna be quiet.
Every week.
All right.
Complaining every week, my man is somewhere.
Well,
But
I'm
you
not
know
going
what?
anywhere in time.
But God bless you that you have
Yes.
the ability, the time, but and the funds. You're always crying broke, but you're always traveling somewhere. But you know something? Everywhere he traveled,
Yeah, thank you,
Dr. B,
Jennifer.
hold on.
Thank you, Jennifer. Let me just put that up on screen, Jennifer. Thank you so much. Thank
What
you
low
for
blow?
defending me.
What low blow?
Thank you,
I'm telling
Jennifer.
you,
I
it's not a
appreciate
low
that.
blow. It's not a low blow.
All right. If you love yourself, take yourself. Thank you,
That's
Taj.
so
Good
true.
talk.
stop kissing up.
All right. Thank you, Taj.
No low blow. No low blow. It's
Yeah,
the
it was a
truth.
low blow.
Janice Trap
Uh,
traveling the world, enjoying yourself. No. Seriously, it's not a low blow. I commend you because the thing is, first of all, you're a testimony. And every time I say that, you might think it's a low blow, but you are a testimony.
Thank you, Taj. Yes, I hear you.
All right, Edge. Don't worry. I'll see you tomorrow.
Taj, I love you for that. Thank you. He's a hater.
I'll see you tomorrow, Edge.
All right. He's a hater. I told John that I'm going to Texas in March. I said, John, come. He's not coming. That's whose fault is that? I'm only going for the weekend.
Mm.
So he can, Domino's though. Domino's. And that's not a vacation because I'm working.
Wait. You going back for Domino's? It is a vacation. Let's not go back to that.
All right. So you remind me when you travel for a church convention that it's not a vacation. You go ahead and remind me that. Next time you travel for a school convention or a work-related convention, you go ahead and you tell me that it's not that it's a vacation. You go ahead. Because if you don't show up to where you're supposed to be. Don't show up. Don't show up to where you're supposed
Domino's,
to be.
Wait. Church convention.
I'm not going to play dominoes in the park.
Is a choice.
Okay. Again, if you say to your pastor,
can we move on?
Wait. If you say to your pastor, yes, Pastor so and so, I will go and fellowship with you at this location for this time at this date, and you don't show up. You show up and go do something else.
You know what?
And what happened?
I just want to.
All right, let's move on.
I just want to move on.
Yeah.
You know, it's very interesting today. Today I was watching television, and I was watching MSNBC, and they were interviewing. They had a focus group of about maybe 10 women from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm. All right.
And the question to them, and this was a diversified group of women. And the question was asked, should President Biden run again? And before the commentator could finish, all of them. Yo, Ange, you gonna get it. Ange, that's all I can say, Ange.
Thank you, Angie. Take him with me to Texas. Go ahead.
Yeah. Now you gonna get it, Ange. Well, all of them in unison said he shouldn't run again.
I agree.
and it was to me.
Question is why?
To
That's
me,
sad.
no. To me, they were talking about. They questioned the age. They questioned whether he had the intellect to continue,
Mhm.
and it was telling to me because you had black women, and all of these women, 10 women, all of them
Mhm.
voted for him.
Mm.
Voted for him. Villagers, we really have to pay attention of what's going on.
But
To
here's a
me-
question for
well,
you.
hold on, let me finish.
Mhm.
To me, that was extremely telling.
Of the
Extremely
shift. Of the
of the
shift that's,
shift that has
that's about
occurred.
to take. Mm-hmm.
You know, and if there is a viable Republican candidate running for the president of the United States of America, it could be DeSantis. You know, Trump, I wouldn't worry too much because Trump has done enough damage to himself. But if you get a moderate Republican who's going to talk about dealing with the issues that really impact us, the inflation rate, and abortion is a very key issue, but people always vote their pocketbook.
Jennifer
Mm.
wrote a point which I think it alludes to what you're talking about. Does he have the cognitive?
I mean, and that's what, and you know, and that's what they talk about, the cognitive ability. Why would they question his cognitive ability? They didn't question Donald Trump's cognitive ability, but once
we
again,
what do you say, John, all the time? We are the Democrats.
our own worst enemy.
We are our own. The Republicans was if Trump were to be the candidate of choice, just like I heard so many negative things about Lee Zeldin, who's running for governor. So many negative things. Like I was at the doctor's office today, his own Republican people hates him, but they're going to vote Republican. Why can't the Democrats stick together? The other question that I have to ask as you bring that topic up, right? As you bring that topic up, do you believe that America is ready for not only another black person, but you have a black person, a woman who is black?
You're talking about Kamala Harris?
Kamala Harris.
That
Do you
shit-
believe?
Oh hell no, not Kamala.
It's not going.
She has done nothing
She
to
has not.
distinguish herself. She has done absolutely nothing, and that's what hurts. She has done absolutely nothing to distinguish herself. You know, and this is what
So that's where the problem
is
is.
interesting.
Mhm.
And it's not. Hey,
Oh wait,
you know what?
other-
What president? Everybody questioned his cognitive ability, but he surrounded himself with geniuses. Was Ronald Reagan?
Yep.
Everybody thought
Actually,
Ronald Reagan,
George Bush.
Bush,
George
yes,
Bush
Bush,
George
Junior.
did-
you know,
I
and
love, and I'm gonna say it again. I love George W. Bush. I do. The Junior. Oh my gosh, I love him because he gave me comedy every single day. I'm serious.
Donald
And
Trump gave us comedy every day too.
no, it wasn't. It wasn't. No, his type
we
of comedy.
will not vote for a woman. I mean, what she's saying is that a lot of people say that even within remember when Hillary ran in 2016, right? When Hillary ran in 2016, a lot of people didn't vote for her because she was a woman.
No.
wait.
I'm
not asking you.
No,
I'm not asking.
Hillary. People
Stayed
vote.
home.
No,
They stayed home.
You know why people stayed home? Because excuse me.
Hillary.
I mean Hillary. Hillary's campaign. I read
Failed.
Donna Brazil's book. She was begging for them to take that money and put on the ground in those battleground states. You know, her husband was so he was just such a great communicator amongst a diversity of people. Hillary listened to those
Who think that
those
sewed up?
technocrats.
Yeah, that she had to sew
Those
up,
those not progressives, those yuppies,
those idiots.
you know, those young people. The data. That's all it was. The data, the analytics. It wasn't about analytics. It was a portion of analytics, but a portion of the human touch. Hillary did not have the human touch, and she took it for granted. She took it for granted. That's why Hillary lost.
But-
We are ready
I
for
want
a
to
woman
ask Jennifer a
president.
question. I want to ask Jennifer a question, right? Jennifer is a political guru here in New York City, so I'm gonna shout you out there, Jennifer, like that, right? And if I had a campaign, if I were to be running for an office, you're one of the persons that will be at the top of my list that I'm gonna ask to help manage that campaign, right? So I want to make sure that I state that without equivocation, so people know that I'm not asking somebody who I wouldn't entrust with the question, right?
Okay.
So for Jennifer, you who have worked in so many campaigns locally and statewide, when I say work on, you have worked on all national, state, and local, but you have more influence on the state and local election. You as a woman making a statement that a woman would not win. Why would you make that statement? If you want to call us in and have the conversation, 718, the number is on the screen, but 718-841-9980. We would love to hear from your side who have worked on, who from your side who has worked on campaigns, to see what is your take on why you feel like Kamala Harris, or for that matter, is it because she's black? Is it she's a woman? Or is it what John is saying, that she has not done anything that distinguished herself?
I need to say something.
Dr. Brian,
Mike-
Dr. Brian, we want to hear from you.
Yeah.
Mike Pence didn't do anything as well, but here it is.
He did. He did. He stood away from. He said, "There
At the end, you're talking about at the end. At the end, but he didn't do anything where you can say, "Hey, you know what? This man is worth being the president of the United States." It's the same thing as Kamala. It's in the shadow that you're working. The president is getting the limelight, but he didn't stand out. So what's the difference between the two? At the end, he did stand away from what the president said. He didn't vote and go his way. Yes, he gets bonus points for that. But what's the difference between the two?
First of all, let me tell you about the whole issue.
He had a personality, actually.
The whole issue about the border issue when he became president, dealing with that whole border issue, not going down there to look at the wall or do whatever to do what was necessary for her to do. The other issues that are really impacting what's going on in the White House, just really helping our president guide him on certain things, and then you hear about the disruption, the chaos going with staffing and things like that. So, she has not taken on a hotbed of issues that really make a difference. She hasn't. And I'm not saying,
and she has a lot of
measuring.
Kafaffle. Somebody, I don't forget who. I think my former Eddie Gentile, my former principal, used to use that word, kafaffle. So she's made a bunch of just stupid blunders, like with the indecisiveness about the migrants coming in.
Yeah,
I want to talk about that too.
The indecisiveness. Kamala Harris is and that's what's so frustrating, is she's a person that has so much, that so much can offer so much, but she can also be stifled by the president, because the president does not want to be outshined. But at the same time, there's certain things positions that she can take and move towards to really help the president of the United States. Because you look at Ronald Reagan had a team around him. Ronald Reagan didn't know what the hell was going on, but he had a team around him that knew how to execute and get things done. So he, like Bill Clinton said, when he asked him, how many degrees do you have? He named every single degree each one of his cabinet members had. He said, those are all my degrees.
That's true. You have to surround yourself around people who will make you stronger. And you said Ronald Reagan, George W. Bush did the same thing as well. Now,
caller, we have a caller, Dr. Brian. Caller, you're live.
Nope, they're not.
They hung up. All right.
Eddie Gentile says Harris has too many rough edge corners in her presentation. She doesn't show any empathy. Too rough.
I think that's a good point. All right.
What? Hold on. Just because she's rough and doesn't show empathy, that doesn't mean that she cannot become president?
But it shows.
Why we always have to be judged by our demeanor and
No,
disposition?
but because it
That's
shows,
it.
because part of what, it's funny. I'm having this conversation with my wife.
You're considering angry black woman, right?
No, that's not what he's saying.
Mm.
That's not what he's saying. I was having a conversation with my wife coming in to the studio, and I was talking about, I have, let me see, Lumi, Linda, Laura, Grace, and Yayo. I have 5 different nurses. So at any point, I have one of those 5. Today I had 2 of the 5. And Jessica, 6. And Chanel, 7. But Chanel and Jessica, they're not RNs, they are whatever. And I pointed out to Garcia that my 7 nurses had 7 different personality.
Mm-hmm.
And the one that I draw to the most is Linda. And the reason why I draw most to Linda is her ability to communicate with me and speak to me. Not that she's more knowledgeable than any of the other 6 or 7, but she's able to communicate with me differently. And so the empathy and the compassion and the voice that resonates with the people, Barack Obama was good at that.
Bill Clinton was
good at that, right? That makes a difference in terms of how people will vote you. If they can't relate to you, hey, they look at Hillary as the dingbat. Call her your live. Call her your live.
Oh, good evening.
Good evening.
That's me?
Yes, that's you.
Oh, hi. Well, I'm a first-time caller, but
Tell us your name first.
Carlene Gordon.
Carlene Gordon. How you doing? How you doing, Carlene? How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you all?
We're doing well. You know who Carlene is? Carlene, actually, when Yvette won Congress, she was one of the candidates for city council at that time.
Hey, Miss Gordon, what's going on? Thanks for calling in the village. Speak your piece. What's up?
Now, okay, about Kamala Harris. Although she is, yes, a black woman, and really and truthfully, I'd love to support her, but she scares me altogether. And
why?
Here's why. Okay, it's a biracial, if you want to put it that way, marriage. Her father is Jamaican, her mother is Indian. Did you notice that at her, when she was being, I'm a little nervous.
That's fine.
Okay,
Just take your time.
Bear with me. But what really struck me is that she gave credit to her mother, everybody, and her father was not mentioned at all. I think that is so important. We cannot overlook that. Why? Because it just appears that she is a victim of parental alienation, which is so common in our community, and one of those topics that we don't pay enough attention to, but it is really, really a destructive and dangerous force in our community. The fact that she didn't mention her father at all really troubled me, and it spoke volumes.
I have a question for you, and John, I want you to 100% want you to chime in on this. Do you think that her staff, her people, her cabinet, whatever you call it, what do you call it? Your think tank,
Mm-hmm.
told her to stay away because she had made, like, I'm going to use Eddie Gentile's word again, a kerfuffle when she said that about the marijuana, that she had tried it, right? Even though we're still pushing to make some reforms on marijuana, legalization thereof.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that her think tank told her to stay closer to her white side? Both her husband and a lot of Indians do, when they put it on the census, they call themselves white. They call themselves white, not other, white. So to address the white component of herself, like a Tiger Woods did. Tiger Woods says, I'm not black, even though we labeled him black. Barack Obama is the only person that really said, I'm black.
I don't agree with that. And Ms. Gordon, I'm going to tell you this. This is something very interesting. Like you're saying, she didn't mention her father or the side or whatever it is. I was listening to it was a, it was a the football game. I think it was either the Giants or Jets, and there was a young man who did very well, and he was awarded the game ball, and he awarded the game ball to his mother, and he talked about his mother. And the commentator said, "Hey, your father. What happened to your father?" He said, "Yeah, definitely, my father was there, but he wasn't present. He
There you
wasn't
go.
present during the trials and tribulations that I was going through." He said, "That's why my mother's getting this game ball, because she was there during those tough times." And it could be the same situation for Vice President Harris, meaning that what was the extent of relationship that she had with her father, and was her father there for those special moments in her life that helped elevate her to where she's at? So there's a lot of family dynamics going on, and I'd rather have
Hmm.
someone who's authentic, meaning that if your father was there, you need to give him the credit. But if he wasn't there, why am I going to give the parent who wasn't there any sort of credit at that
Hmm.
point in time? I'm going to be very authentic. And
Hmm.
this
Hmm.
young man acknowledged that. He said, "Yes, the game ball goes to my mother." And he says, "Oh, what about your father?" He said,
Hmm.
"My mother's the one who sacrificed for me, and she was there all the time." And it
That's
could be
right.
the same thing with Vice President Harris. So,
Yeah, I considered that.
mhm.
Here it is that the bulk of my advocacy, even during the time that I, ran for in the special election, was with Voices of Women Organizing Project, and it was an organization that brought awareness to domestic violence, and we were able to impact Family Court, ACS, and um, all of the different systems survivors of domestic violence turn to for safety and justice. And what we discovered is that during certain divorces, where or divorce or separation, it is so common for one parent to whatever childhood trauma they have been going through or abandonment issues that they were going through. But it was so common for one parent to take that child and keep the child away from the other parent. And, whereas they divorce, the adults divorce, but one parent decides that the child must be divorced from that other parent too, the targeted parent. And so you find that a child will dislike, hate, speak against a parent, even, I mean, although, as a matter of fact, they've been taught to do that. And it looks authentic on on the front, but when you really when you dig a little deeper, you realize that brainwashing has been a part of that. And in the Jamaican and Caribbean, I just speak about Jamaicans because that's where I'm from. Um,
Why it got to be Jamaicans? Why can't you
no,
just
no,
say the
no, no,
Caribbean? What's going
no.
on, Miss
Well,
Gordon?
I'm speaking to the Jamaican, to
Side.
Jamaica,
I got you. The
to
Jamaican
Jamaica
side.
because
Don't
that's where
listen
I'm
to
from.
don't
And
listen to John.
like
Speak
We're
to
getting to
like
know
our
John.
80%,
sides. We represent
like
all
80%.
sides.
Yeah. But the point is, right? Because I'm from that country, when you realize that 80% of the households are single-headed households, are women-headed households, there is that's a problem right there.
No, no, Gordon, and you're right. And Warren, thanks for chiming in, man. Warren is one of me and Warren go back to our elementary school days, our parents. You know,
Thank you.
Warren, your comment is right. You can't just be. Well, Warren's comment is this: you can't just be there for all the accomplishments and not the failures. And I think
Mhm.
that's what it is. Consistency in your relationships with your children. You got to be there for
Yeah,
the ups and downs, and and
absolutely.
and it's usually, to be honest, it's usually the moms who's always there for the ups and downs.
Just to chime in, one of the issues, and Carlene, I want to thank you for the call, and thank you for chiming in that. One of the issues though is that like the black, you need the black population, right? You need the black population to win an election, especially if you in primaries and working through that, right? You need them to get out and vote in the primaries, and you need them to vote in the general election, right?
I agree with that.
Right. But so the point is that if you alienate that side now, it leaves a distaste in people's minds and thoughts moving forward.
And it does. But if you
we're very quick.
We're
very quick to move to the other side.
We're very quick to the other side, but sometimes elected officials know when to get in and they know when to get out. You look at the Prime Minister of the UK.
Yeah.
She was in there not 1 week, not 2 weeks. She was in office for just 6 weeks.
Yep.
And she has submitted her resignation. You
Yes.
know, and it has to deal with a lot of the financial issues that are going on in the UK. I wonder what impact does that whole Brexit vote have on it too.
I got that today, so I'm sharing something. I'm sharing something with John.
Trust.
John, you can read it out loud.
Oh, it's
just read it out loud, man. It's funny.
This is a joke. They say, she's shaking the queen's hands. May the queen rest in peace. She says, and the queen says to her, she said to the queen, "You don't look like you're going to last very long." And the queen said, "Neither do you."
All right. The joke's actually, she just said she was resigning today, and the joke's already coming. I think when you think about it, right? Boris Johnson left. He came in under turmoil. He eventually left under turmoil. And she came in under turmoil, and she just left under turmoil. So the last three prime ministers of England, I don't even know when Boris Johnson came in, like literally right around COVID. Right. Yeah, I think so.
Around the time
I think it's COVID. I think
around
it's
the time Donald Trump became
president. So it's right around COVID, right? So, let me see when. Andre, can you look up when he came into office?
I think 2017.
Boris Johnson.
2017. I think you're correct.
Right. And so I don't think any of those prime ministers have actually served one full term. They might have served.
No, yes, they have.
No, I'm saying he might have been elected, right? He might have been elected, but I think Parliament is 5 years. So I don't think of the last three. Who was the prime minister before Boris Johnson that stepped down? I don't think he might have served one term. 2019. There you go. So he went in 2019. So he might have been re-elected to become the.
Who was there prior to him?
Yeah. Who was there prior to him? And then he wasn't there. And this one lasts 6 weeks. So the other one lost out on Brexit. Whoever, I forgot it was, but it was Brexit that caused that one's demise. Mm-hmm. So what's going on in a first world country? Huh? Theresa May. There was no Ming as prime minister.
May.
Theresa May. How long was she in office for? There you go. So in the last 6 years, they have May, Johnson, Liz, and now this person. So they're going to have 4 prime ministers in 6 years. And then they're talking about Jamaica or Haiti or any other country that has had a turnover in government. The only thing is that their parliament is stronger.
But my God, just to digress for a second, the crisis that's going on in Haiti.
Yeah, well, we're not digressing. I mean, that is something that it's crazy though.
It is. It is crazy, and I know a couple of my staff people that I work with, my colleagues. They are really concerned about what's going on in their country. Dr. Brian, you want to chime in on this?
Yeah, where do you start?
It sound. She's coming. Go ahead, Doc. Let us have it.
No, where do you start? To imagine that there are 4 million, a little more than 4 million.
Yeah, what they said, the 4.7 million or something.
Yeah, living in Haiti, and no gas,
no food.
Food.
Thank you, Jennifer, for your chime in. Thank you. came in after me.
Kidnapping left and right,
Mhm.
murdering left and right, gang left and right, and no law enforcement that could handle the situation. So, what do you say for that? There's no word for it.
So you're Haitian, right? You're not the what do you call it? The I can't think of the word, but you're not the go-to person on Haitian politics,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know. So, right. But from an opinion, if you were to opine, right, because we are on a show, if you were to opine on the subject, do you think that Haiti is going into a civil war and the dictator will take over?
Haiti's
Uh,
already in civil war.
yeah.
Well, not
Because
officially. Not officially.
when you have your president murdered,
hmm
assassinated, and then
By one of his own cabinet members at that.
Is that what they found out?
well, there's so much behind the scene. You know, when people want power, they
Mm.
will go and do anything for power. You know, like people say, dog eat dog world. You push one, and same thing. And the sad thing about Haiti is once you start talking truth, similar to Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, people get nervous. So now you don't know. I remember when he said, "Hey, I don't want any of the COVID vaccination or whatever to take place, to come to Haiti." And it was just interesting because there was some missionaries that came out from Haiti and they were like, we don't understand. This was one country that didn't have anything. So I feel like this. We are busy helping every other nation, every other nation. And when it comes to the first independent, free country, it's not the same. So here it is. There were trials after trials after trials after trials. Not trials in regards to going to court, but in regards to, hey, you finally got free. But guess what? You have to pay the people that you got your freedom from for years and years and years. So are you truly really free? Are you truly really liberated? No. And then to top it off, all the people that you share land with don't accept you. The money and embargoes and ways for people to actually survive, that ability was taken away. Yes, you have all types of natural disaster left and right, but you have to fend for yourself. And and funding that was supposed to be sent to help people never went through. And they're still in the tent that was created years ago that was only supposed to be for a certain amount of time. So how do you expect this group of individuals, this group of people to say, hey, we're yes, you are survivors. Yes, you are making, but and then another thing, half of the people who were deported that came from jail, who were in gangs that was sent, they were sending people who weren't even Haitian, deporting them to Haiti. So
I'm sorry. 1 second, Dr. Bright. Are you ready? Okay. Go ahead. We just wanted to make sure the guest was ready to come on. Go ahead. Continue your.
so it is, I don't think any other country would be able to deal with the amount of masses and loss that this country has come under. And to top it off, the sad thing is the way that the people in Haiti go about in doing things. Regular people, the older folks, they're used to working and getting around under the sun. But then you have a group of younger folks who believe in crime and believe in all types of, kidnapping. That wasn't never something years ago. We were proud people. So that's a whole different mindset altogether.
Right.
So I'm going to stop and I'm going to allow our guest to introduce herself to our audience. Welcome, Miss Betty. How are you? And thank you for joining us this evening. So please unmute yourself and introduce yourself to our listeners. You're muted.
You're still muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, you are.
Great. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Mr. Daly, Mr. John, Dr. Joanne, thank you for inviting me to this platform. I am very honored and very happy to be here. My name is Betty Aristide Augustin. I am the Executive Director of AD Youth Organization.
Thank you and welcome to the Village Talk Show. So it's a blessing to have you here. And we had it was great that we were able to segue about Haiti and bringing you on and to talk about that.
Betty, we want your input. You're here on the Village. What's your take on what's going on?
What's going on in Haiti? Is that correct?
Yeah. Yes.
What's going on in Haiti is just lack of resources, lack of education. And I know that we talk about education being done in school. School gave us access. Education come from home, the foundation. So what's going on in Haiti, we need to educate our community. We need to bring forth more, because the adults that you have now, the gang members that you have now, when you interview them, you look at their foundation, their background. People would do anything to eat when they don't have food. So you have a population, the rural country, where everyone is living to come to Port-au-Prince for what? For food, for access, for living necessity. So what's going on in Haiti is we need to get together as diasporas, as human beings, to get, to bring Haiti to the next level. I really do believe in Haiti, because guess what? We are the first country who freed from slavery. We did it then, we could do it again. This time it would be a slavery of our mindset.
So, Betty, now I understand the passion that you have. I see why that this organization that you have created, and it's like here with our kids, and those who are just they're looking for another identity, growing up in poverty, just not knowing that there are alternatives out there.
I want to add, I'm always awestruck when it comes to Haitian politics and Haitian upbringing and Haitian growth in Haiti itself, in the country. I've never been there and I would love to go there. But to be honest with you, everything that I'm hearing, the UN getting involved, the world is getting involved, I'm not going.
Really? You're not touring?
No, I'm not. That's not going to happen. So the question, I had this conversation with Dr. Bryant a couple shows ago. Why can't we, in your mind, vote? And again, I just want to make sure that you're just giving an opinion. You're not I forgot the word. There's a word I can't remember of Haitian politics and Haitian government, but you just opining on the subject, being Haitian, the round table conversation, right? The dinner table conversation, not round table, but dinner table conversation. Why can't Haiti get settled? It's 218 years of independence, and it just cannot get settled. You're going from dictator to tumultuous leadership to assassination of leaders to this to that in over 218 years, right? Plus 218 years plus.
There's a few reasons what I could come up with why Haiti is not settling, and this is why we birthed Haiti Youth, to start from the foundation of the young people, because the young people are our future. They are the change. First, we have to learn to work together. when I say together, there's no politics within us. There's no, it's not a competition. And we have to do that with love, because God first tell us we need to love one another.
Right.
And when it says, it asks you to love yourself first, then you love others. So a lot of the time you ask ourselves, when things are happening, how much do we really love ourselves? And loving ourselves, talking to loving like the great father in the home, a great mom, and then comes to the home, then move to the community, then goes to the country.
Mm-hmm.
It first start with us working together and loving each other unconditionally. And then for me to continue with that, we really need to start creating a human infrastructure development. What do I mean by that?
What do you mean by that?
Investing in the local people, local businesses. When we invest in the local people, avoid them from coming to Port-au-Prince. It helps them create different avenue where they are, build their community. So, and
Sorry, as a
Go ahead.
listener.
Um, I'm Andre told that you might be getting callers as well, so just
yes, no,
yes, caller, you're live. Caller, you're live. Caller, you're live.
You know what we did not do, and I have to apologize for this. EDU, can you explain to our listeners what EDU is?
yes. EDU, it's A-Day youth.
It
A-Day
is.
means
Sorry.
Creole, and Creole means help. A-Day youth. We
It
help
okay.
young
It
people.
is.
Yes.
Okay. It is.
A-Day youth exists to answer the question, how do we raise tomorrow's leaders today? And that's what we need in Haiti right now.
Right.
We do that through empowering our young people. We have entrepreneurship program for them. We do resume writing, job creation, scholarship. And then we also have vocational training. Haiti Youth was birthed in Haiti and Leogane after the earthquake with the church, Baraka Baptist Church. From that first mission trip, the fire ignited, because what I saw with three of the members that were with me were young ladies that were sleeping with men for the necessity food. Necessity food, clothes, anything that they need to survive. And what I also saw in the clinic was young women who did not even know how to read, who didn't know, some of them did not know how to read, had babies already, whether it was rape, whatever situation they were in. So the lifestyle of a country are pushing our youth to utilize their bodies to get the necessity need, and that didn't sit right with me. And I believe Dr. Joanne, I shared with you in the elevator, I met a young lady who was on the elevator with Haitian citizen gentleman, with also Canadian citizen gentleman going up. I was trying to get her attention. I couldn't get. Her head was down. She feels so shameful. So when I tried to catch, still nothing. So I went to the front desk and I asked him who she was. And I learned later on she was going upstairs to get involved in sexual intercourse with these young men for $100 because her mom needed to go to the hospital. She was in nursing school and taking care of her siblings. Why should our young people use their bodies for necessity? That's why we birth 80 youth. 80 youth provide certificate programs for them. And Leogan, they have their sewing certificate. They're sewing for the community. They have their own businesses. We have the culinary program where they're catering weddings, any type of event in the community. They're catering that. And then we also have the little ones from the 13 to 16 art decoration, where we teach them different ways of painting, whether it's decorating the house, all of that, just to get them off the street, get them engaged, and also provide different things for them. And then Ada Youth became here in the US.
So I'm gonna. I like to play devil's advocate, and I like because I'm gonna take it from an educational perspective.
Because he's the devil, that's why.
Yeah. Well, don't make my mama don't make my mama hear you say that, because you'll move down on her list real fast. So
Sorry, Mom.
I believe that you're not going to fix the problem of the youth
Mhm.
if you don't fix the problem of the parents. Somebody, I strongly believe, and this is me speaking, not even being a devil advocate now. I strongly believe that I believe in the cycle of poverty and the cycle of misgenerational wealth, right? We talk about generational wealth on a regular basis on the show. If a parent is not able to make the necessary sacrifice, or an adult is not going to make the necessary sacrifice, then you will never be able to fix the problem. Here's where I'm going with this. Think about that lady. And I'm not saying the mother should die, because you don't want to see your mother dying. That's not what I'm saying. Don't go that far. But let's say the mother says, listen, I don't want you to do that. I want you to stay in school so that my grandchildren will be okay. My this will be okay. I don't want to do that. I'm willing to make them the necessary sacrifice to do that, as opposed to placing a significant amount of burden that child who's going for $100, as despicable as it is, feels a certain amount of burden to want to do that. How do we get families, right, to say that this is the level of the sacrifice that I can make to ensure that this doesn't continue? Because if I place a burden, like I hear
I want to jump in, because some of what you're saying is coming from a United States perspective. And I want you to remember that when we're talking about gangs, you know how many gang members rape young females in Haiti recently, or kidnapped them, raped them, and then killed them, even though they got the money. So this has been going on. This is not a new thing. The gang thing is becoming a lot more prevalent, but it happened when we so-called had people to come and help Haiti.
Yes, I agree.
Took advantage of. So if you don't have money, like you were saying in Jamaica, if you don't have money, you can't go to school. So many of these people are not working. There's no jobs involved at all. There's no food. There's no money going around. There's an embargo. There's no country sending things. So it's getting worse. So what are they doing? They're using and finding out who lives in the United States. You know, who family is attached to such and such. Let me go and kidnap them so I can get money to live my life.
I agree, right? That's a different component. But what I'm talking about, my component is, how do we address the adults not to place so much burden? So what your work is doing to educate the youth, to make them advance, make them actually make what they're doing worth doing. What are we going to do with the youth? You understand? I think that's where I get that point too, right? So the things, there are other issues, right? So let's try to fix them one at a time. And you're working with the youth to address one of those issues. But we also have to look at the parent. Caller, go ahead, you're live.
Caller, you're live.
Caller, you're live.
Yes. I'm gonna jump on this one. I'm gonna ask you a simple question.
Yeah, caller, can you just hold 1 second? Let me just tell the other caller to hold. Hold on. Caller, please hold. Caller, you're in the village, please hold. Go ahead, caller, you're live.
Okay. The question I'm gonna ask about that. What about when those
who's your question addressed
people? I'm talking about the in the youth. He said he's gonna address from the perspective, but the thing I'm gonna ask, what about those people who was from U.S.? I don't know exactly the amount is. They send them back to Haiti without no record. What you think they can do help them about those?
The question is for you.
Yes, thank you for that question. So for ADA Youth, we partner with DREP, and we were in Texas. We went there. We were able to help about 20 young people getting tickets here. We were
Migrant,
able,
very similar.
migrants. Yes, that's
Okay,
what we were able to get them attorneys. We were able to get them to be presented in court. The one that they sent back, unfortunately, there was nothing that we could have done. But the one that are here, we partnered with DREP, a foundation, Dr. Mona Lisa, Councilwoman Farah Lewis, all the community get together. And then still now we are helping many of them. We even have a chat right now actively that we are still helping the migrant from Haiti. And I hope that answer your question.
so one set of
That is
migrants
awesome.
is set back home, and another set is being helped. Interesting.
Um, okay, caller, did you?
All right, thank you.
You good? Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much for your question. Go ahead, caller. You're live. We're on the air on the
Yes,
village. Thank you very much.
yes, hello, good night. I was listening to the show and I heard Miss Betty talking about how the young ladies selling their body and to actually get some money to help the family and whatever their needs are. And you respond by saying about parents need to take responsibility and not placing so much burden on the young people out there that are selling their bodies for necessities. My thing is, while you saying that, I'm saying to myself, majority of the parents does not know what the young people are doing out there to bring something home. So therefore, when you said about parents' responsibility, majority of time the parents is out there themselves hustling. And I was born in Haiti myself. I came here when I was young, but going back to Haiti on mission trips and being with Haiti youth there. And I realized that even their parents are out there hustling at the vendors market,
Right.
doing whatever they can to help themselves too. But it's not a matter of the parents not knowing how to take care of them per se. It's just them that's saying that there's a point where they gotta be an adult and do what they have to do because their parents is bringing so little home and they feel like, I'm an adult. I went to school. I'm studying. I'm done with school and there's nothing else for me to do in the country. So therefore, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to start finding ways to bring something back home too.
I
And that's
appreciate that question, and I do understand that no matter what happens, a person sometimes, no matter how much you train, even here in the United States, right? We have kids who are in gangs and kids who are dropping out of school, even though as a parent, you're telling them take your box out and go to school, do what you need to do. So what my question, I know that's happening, right? So I'm talking about the psychological component, right? The psychological, because sometimes kids will react based upon what they see as a household burden, right? So they might, even though as a parent, if like, I know that in a lot of my Jamaican home, a lot of parents say that my child is my pension. I don't know. I can't speak for Haiti, but I know in Jamaica it happens a lot. My children are supposed to do this, help take care of the house, help care of this, blah, 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 blah. And I send them to school to do all of that. The work that Betty is doing is so important, right? Because you are telling the kids, for the young people, that you have your responsibility as the next generation to create a different Haiti, a different Haitian diaspora, so that's very important. But what I'm also saying is that how do we make is there any work that's also educating the adult? That's because there's no like, let's put this in this jar, in this vacuum, and it's going to work. Right? But how do we, because it's a real issue, right? The psychological toll on a young person to make a difference at home can affect and will affect what they do. I need to hustle. I need to do this. I need to drop out of school. I hear it here in the United States. I hear it because I'm a former administrator, so I hear it. And that's where my question comes in. Are we also putting efforts into educating parents to at least increase? Because we're not necessarily going to get 100%, but increase the effectiveness of AD youth when addressing parents, not just to youth, but go from a different angle.
Mr. Daly, one of the programs that we also offer that I haven't had a chance to share with you is You're Not Alone. That's our mental health
Thank you.
program. So our mental health program really focuses on building self-esteem, self-awareness, and self-improvement. Yes, we do work with our youth. That's our mission. That's our goal. But we also educate. We have parent meetings. We have how to uplift the parents. We each also teach the parents how to interact with their youth. But now going back to the question of Haiti. Ada Youth is helping the young people. And as I mentioned to you before, we need the human infrastructure. But the second thing I wanted to also add was microeconomy loans. That's why when I first started talking, I said we need to work together. We need to strategize. How do we do that? First, we need to define there is a problem. We all already know there's many problems, right? So we need to break down the problem, and then we'll assemble a task, a group of people. And I want to give a shout out to all the diasporas, whether you're Jamaican, Haitian. We are the foundation that keep our country rolling, sending the money to
Very
our
good point.
country.
Excellent.
As we send funds to our country, the money changes hand. It help build our economy. The
Mhm.
reason why Haiti is alive right now is you, Dr. Joanne, myself, you, Mr. John, you, Mr. Deli. Any one of us who's listening, who have family in Haiti that are sending money, I want you to know you are part of the change. But we need to make it a little bit more effective by strategizing. We're not only breaking down the problem, we bring a force. How many of us that can do this? So how many? I am just so very proud of us Caribbean, intelligent, resilient, hardworking people. Okay, get a force, get the team together, and then let's define the destination and revise it. Revise it like I always say, revise 3 times, and then put this plan into action. What are the plans that we need to put into action? Number one, human infrastructure. Number two, microeconomy loans. Number three, healthcare.
Mhm.
Betty, I
You,
think Betty, I think Betty, you summed it up pretty much. Uh, the aspect of human infrastructure is very important,
Mhm.
you know. And caller, we have a caller.
no, she's still there.
Oh, what you trying to say, Ryan?
Caller, thank you for calling in. Appreciate the call. Thank you.
Thank you.
I was just telling her to address the caller. I was trying to tell her to address the caller for you. I'm trying not to interrupt you.
And give me a break.
He doesn't take hints very well.
Go ahead, John. Continue.
Go ahead, Betty.
So Betty.
Go ahead, John.
The human infrastructure is very important, but
Mike.
it has to be the collective human infrastructure, because we have to the impact that what's happening in Haiti is happening in other countries in the diaspora. Maybe not on such a bigger level, but on a smaller level. But they exist, and it's the way that the rest of the world views us, and our commitment that we have to those people, to our people, because they're our people, irrespective of from Jamaica, from Haiti, from Guyana, St. Lucia, St. Vincent's, Puerto Rico. We have the ability to create a human infrastructure that can really, really turn the tide of the the negativism, the pretty much civil cannibalism that is going on in
That's so true.
you know
I have a question. You brought up something that I think is so also very, very important, the microloans, right? And the businesses, having establishing business, especially for young people coming out of college, find them something to do. And you spoke also about vocational studies and bringing that back to Haiti and the diaspora and making that happen. I am concerned, however, and I'm speaking to you from somebody from the outside, right? So when I'm speaking to you, when I'm talking to you and asking these questions about what you're doing, I'm just thinking from the outside, and you're going to help me to create, how I remember when I was going away to school and somebody was asking, I went to a white school, right? So they kept asking me questions on Black people. I'm like, I don't have all the answers, but yeah, I give you this answer, that no. So please do ignore some of my what seems to be ignorant questions, but they're not. They're
There's
real
no
questions,
ignorant questions.
right?
No
So
stupid question, no ignorant questions at all. Go
la-
ahead.
last week we were talking about 501c3 and their work and the amount of monies that don't get to the people that they want to get to.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome
You-
back, Andre.
Right. So my question to you, and the micro loans, creating business, vocational study, giving them work, economic development is so important. My question is, how do A-Day Youth ensure, or what can they do, or they work with any underground organization to help to ensure that the people who are supposed to get these loans get the loan?
We
How
have
does that happen?
we have directors in Haiti under our program who are educating our youth, who are giving them the education for the sewing class. So what you were asking me what we need. So the micro loan is what we need. We're not giving them micro loan. We're giving them the education and the certificates. So we're talking about is one, I want us to work together, get other organizations together where we focusing on the human infrastructure, then where we get another organization that comes in, hey, listen, I want to do the micro loan. We just partnered with a new organization that says, you know what, Betty, all your graduates for 2022, we are going to try to give them visa to come here to finalize their study. See what that is? We're collaborating. We're working together. So then when I mention healthcare, we need we we don't want to specialize in everything, because you do have doctors that specialize in different aspect, brain, heart. We're not trying to do the entire body. We're trying to focus, how do we raise these leaders of tomorrow today? We do that through these
Like,
we do that with the Yana program, because let me explain something to you. During COVID, we were able to save 5 lives in the US from suicidal thoughts. In Haiti, much more. So when you teach a youth their self-esteem, self-improvement, everything is possible. I just want everyone to understand, without the brand, without knowing who you are, without knowing your worth, everything that we speak tonight, Mr. Dali John and Dr. Joanne, it doesn't matter, because we have to understand mental health is okay. Mental health is normal. It's just like having a headache. So this is what we focus on with our youth. This is our focus. We empower them with the entrepreneurship, scholarship. You're not alone in the vocational training. Now we need you, Mr. Dali. We need you, Dr. Joanne, to come and educate them on what you specialize in. And then together we are elevating young people, not only here in the US, but also in Haiti. Or we will go to you with you in Jamaica, as long as in building the young people, A-Day Youth is here. And that's what we do. We help the young people today, not tomorrow, today, because they are very much capable, these young people. They just want to be loved and be heard.
I love that comment that you make, that about the youth today. I think that's people. I always go back, because again, my background is education, and one of the things I always go back and say, and I brought it up on the show, we always tell people what not to do, especially when you're in the classroom, but we don't tell them what to do. And what is acceptable behavior. And I try to get my teachers to change their comment to our students. Stop telling them to don't talk in class, and instead of telling them when is appropriate to start talking. So the point that I bring that up is, we talk about the children, our future, but how are we preparing them for that future? And that's what you're doing with A-Day Youth, and that needs to be recognized and acknowledged, that hey, you can't just tell them, but show them, right?
Yes.
This is what you want, and so that to me, that's a very, very good point, and it obviously resonates with me, because it goes along with one of my philosophy. Stop telling me something without showing me what I need to do.
So, Betty, where you located at?
We are in Queens, Roselle. That's where we are located, but we do work in Brooklyn, everywhere in Brooklyn. We also anywhere in all the 5 towns in Brooklyn, we are there too. Queens, Brooklyn. We have youth from Manhattan. We have youth. Our youth are from different everywhere. So we have youth from the shelter, group home, from church, from the community. As long you are a young person who's in need, we meet you where you are and we elevate you. Whether you need a mentor, that's what we do.
And you're also in Haiti as well?
And we're in Leogane, Haiti. Correct.
Interesting.
So a question for you. You touched on it a little bit, but do you want to be more specific about some of the Haitian organization or other organization that you have worked with to push your agenda along?
Yes, we have worked with Bridging the Gap for the youth. That's with um, Nadine Morency. She focuses more on the financial literacy aspect. We've worked with Annette with Panache Restaurant. Panache Restaurant has an organization called Alexander Yes. Alexander Yes is
Where's,
an
I'm sorry, can you tell us the location of these places as you are talking about them?
Yes. So, Bridging the Gap for the Youth is also in Queens. That's more in the Springfield area, Queens. Alexander Yes is in Rosedale, Queens. Alexander Yes is an etiquette organization that focuses on building professional etiquette, social
Oh,
etiquette,
a
and
lot of
dining
people need that.
dining etiquette. So we
Mm.
do have we invite our guests, and we love to have you or any one of you as one of our guests. We have a dinner table, and we have bring our youth, teach them how to utilize the utensils and what's first, what's second, and that's what we do with Alexander. Yes, and we partner with a lot of other local businesses. Councilman Fowler Lewis, we have amazing supporters from my church. Um, Baraka Baptist Church. We have a
Is
group
that the
of
one?
people
Is that
that
the one on
support
Flatlands
us.
Avenue? Is that the
That's the one of
Flatlands and
that's
Rockaway?
that's correct. That's
Okay.
correct. Yes, they are one of our big supporter. We started from the mission trip came from that from Pastor Molovi Jean Pierre. That's my leader pastor and Pastor Leslie. Um, and I couldn't do anything I do without my board. And Ada Youth would not be born without Tabitha, Trisha, Chansey, and also Dawn, and like all these wonderful people together. We working to bring this young new generation.
You,
There's do you work with Perez Lazama at all? Is that a book?
Perez, I'm sorry, say that again, please.
Yes, Perez Laz. Yeah, I might be pronouncing his last name wrong, but his first name is Perez, Porez. He
Perez
has
is.
a
Mhm.
yeah. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, say that he has a nonprofit. The name
Yes.
sound familiar. I know I have a Lozama, but that's one of our youth who's a saxophone player who's also
No,
taking
he's definitely not a saxophone player.
a lot of
Well, he's
workshops.
definitely not a youth saxophone player.
So I
He
would
might be both,
definitely.
but I don't think he's
Haiti lost another great performer this
Yes.
week, which was tragic in regards to performing on Saturday. Is that correct? Saturday evening
Yes, that's correct.
in France, and on stage wasn't feeling well and turned around and collapsed and died.
yeah. It looked like he was having a heart attack. Actually, is that what
Yeah.
is that was that the initial prognosis?
That's correct. They said it was a heart attack. They did try to do open heart surgery. This happened in France. They
Mhm.
tried to do open heart surgery on the scene. Unfortunately, we lost a powerful leader from Haiti.
And
Yeah.
And
my condolences to Haiti.
Yeah, a
thank
true
you.
advocate for empowering and moving Haiti forward. So, I thank you for continuing that leg of the work, not on the musical part, but on the education part, on empowering parents, on just motivating people and educating people about the greatness of Haiti. So
Yeah,
that's very important.
much appreciated. Much appreciated. And I think the conversation, because a lot of people who are not part of the diaspora are not aware of some of the major challenges which you have brought up: the prostitution, the monies, the things that are needed,
Kidnapping.
the
The
kidnapping, and all
kidnapping.
the
Oh,
violent issues that are happening within Haiti.
Roderick,
Well, thank you for that.
Betty, we spoke about you also have personal experience with kidnapping with your family members or you knowing someone who has been kidnapped. Can you elaborate on that?
That's a little bit of a sentimental moment for me. I have a cousin. About 3 months ago, I was at work. They called me. sorry about that. They called me. He asked us to he wanted to do a different business, so we all sent him money. He had just gotten his camionette. Camionette is a taxi.
Mhm.
So he was set up. He was set up. He was taken to a location where they asked him to join the gang. He said no. He didn't need to. They asked him again. They at gunpoint. He said no. He didn't want to, and they kill him, cut
They
him into
killed him.
pieces, kill him, cut him into pieces, and burn him. And then along with his friend that was with him, and took the camionette. And sadly, he called me a day before he died, and I heard him. I kept saying, "Wardens," and he says, "Betty," I said, "I can't hear you. I can't hear you." And I hear the sound was really a lot of background noise. I was like, "I couldn't hear you, Wardens." He said, "I'm gonna call you back." I said, "Please call me back. I can't hear you." And Thursday they called me in, and that's what I learned happened.
I'm so sorry.
That is, I am
So,
extremely
so sorry.
sorry to hear something graphic. Um, you know, and to be. I always tell people, John and I, we were just talking about that on the show, which is, it doesn't matter what's happening anywhere. If you're the first-hand victim, you don't care what anybody's saying. I am a first-hand victim and understand it. So we do empathize with that. I'm so sorry to hear that.
Sorry to hear
About
that, man.
what's
Well,
going on.
also,
That's
one
so-
of my
Thank
one
you.
of my colleagues, same thing happened to her family members. They opened up I think a restaurant or a bar or something over there, and within a matter of a week, they were both husband and wife were kidnapped, and they had to pay a ransom. And after they received the ransom, they did let them go.
Thank God for that.
But it was a substantial ransom that they had to pay.
You
And
know,
also the gentleman that died this week, one of the reason that we learned that he died, they kidnapped his
His cousin.
cousin, his best man that was in the wedding.
mm,
They let him out. But for me, this is the passion where yes, I lost wardens, but for me, I can't do anything not to lose another wardens, whether we related or not. I do believe that the country can be changed, but we need to work together, and we need to work together, educate, and the same Haitian that freed from slavery. I do believe that we can do this, but we just have to know that we have resources in Haiti that I came here at 13. I did not know that. I'm learning now. We have many resources in Haiti. There's gold in Haiti. There's oil in Haiti that I was not aware of. Because we have all these new sources. I grew up learning that Haiti was the
Forest, right? The
forest,
forest.
forest,
That's
forest,
what they
forest.
say.
And to learn now, we're like rich. We rich not only with what we have, but we rich in knowledge. Because I know we always said knowledge is power, knowledge is power. Whoever, any one of you that's listening right now, we all have the knowledge, but it is time for us to put that knowledge into action. Knowledge is not power if we're not using it.
Say it again.
It's
Say
not
it.
power if we're not using it. We can go to school and get a degree. If you're not actively using what you learn, it's not power. We are powerful people, but we have to move. We cannot stay in our corner until when we are victim to move. A lot of us, we do that. We don't need to be victim. Together, let's work now together to build the young people, help the parents. We have an upcoming gala that's coming November 13th. Show up, show up and support and help. Look, we have our website www.adyouth.org. There's a place for you to help. Come, help us. Let's go to Haiti with us. Mr. Dali, you are going to go to Haiti with us, but Haiti will change. Haiti will change.
I like the invite. I like the invite.
Haiti will change.
I like the invite. You know, I want to thank you. I want to thank you, Betty, for all your passion, right? Your passion about the growth of the youth, the growth of Haiti. We do appreciate it, and I want to thank everyone who has joined us on the Village, where we're brought to you by the single parent university, right? So we all of us, some of this conversation was about youth. So know that we're brought to you by the single parent university, and helping you to establish things that you want to do for our youth. Thank you so much for watching, viewing, sharing, viewing The Village. Please make sure that you join our YouTube channel, which is The Village Radio Talk Show. Again, thank you so much, Betty, for joining us today.
And
we
the
look forward to
day
seeing you,
of the banquet, Betty,
not-
when is the banquet?
November 13th.
Go out
Right
and
here in
support
Queens.
A-Day Youth.
right? And in terms of the speaking engagement, any one of us, myself, John, or Dr. Bryant, will be willing to more than speak at your event. Just send us the invite and we'll follow up with that. Thank you very much, everyone. And thank you, villagers. Have a great, great night and see you next week. God bless.
God bless.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for joining us. Bye.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.